Small jobs, big jobs, it doesn't matter. Do it all and do it all the right way. Take the approach that we're in this to do right by people, period.
Like Josh was saying, there are people out there just looking for that dollar, and they don't care if they serve you. That's not their goal. So Josh and we have the mindset of serving people, and hopefully we do their roof. But if not, I'm still not opposed to giving you the information about your roof. If you hire us, great. If you don't, well, at least I've done my part to let you know so that you're a little bit more educated on the process, what you need with your roof, how the insurance thing works. Then after that, if you get scammed, I did what I could, to keep you from it.
Ready? Ready to rock and roll? Is that action? All right. Okay.
That's right.
All right.
Absolutely. Go. Go.
Hello, everybody. It's Jason Will with
Go.
This is a real estate podcast, but we talk about leadership, personal growth, and becoming the best version of yourself. Leadership, check 1, 2, check 1, 2. Growth, best version of yourself.
Go.
So this is a real estate podcast. I want to welcome everybody to the podcast. I've got two amazing guests here with me today. The guys from Capstone Roofing, Tony and Josh. Welcome, guys.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Have y'all ever been on a podcast before?
I have not. This is my first time.
Oh, wow.
Same here. First time for me.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we're going to be able to grow your business on this medium because who you guys are as people and the type of business that you run. So I am a big fan of what I call kingdom-minded businesses. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Josh, you're a man of many words this morning. I can see that. So, Tony, tell us a little bit about Capstone Roofing. Give us an intro, how you got into the business, and just a little history.
All right, so I'm assuming you want the short story version. I have a master's degree in music, right? So I used to be a music educator. I was a self-employed music educator. I was one of the drumline instructors at the University of Alabama. I was trying to make it in that world. I mean, I still have a Remo endorsement. I get my drum heads for free. I call Remo. They send me drum heads and stuff like that. But with the economy, it got increasingly difficult to make a living. I started around 2010, I started to have fewer private lessons. By around 2011 or 12, the only things I was doing was teaching with a drum and bugle corps. I'd go on tour during the summer, and then I would teach indoor drumline. Well, the University of Alabama doesn't pay very well because I was adjunct staff. I was not tenure track, right? I didn't have a full-time job. I was athletic bands. The Drum Corps is a nonprofit organization. I'm more or less donating my time. They just paid expenses, gas, right? 2012 was my last season with Alabama. Went to the national championship. That was great. But I started becoming I was an insurance inspector. So I did high-value homes. I had to go calculate, if this house burns down, what's it going to cost to replace it? So then, I'm in the insurance world, right? After I completely quit teaching music, then I actually got recruited by a roofing company, right? And I started working for them, and then I worked for them for a while. Then I started Capstone Roofing as a repair company, and then we started as a full-blown roof company. But how I actually got into working for that roofing company, well, I had hail damage. I hired a roofing company to put my roof on, right? They came and knocked on my door because they were doing my neighbor's roof, kind of a thing. And real nice salesman, young guy. Anyway, he worked for a particular roofing company. The roof did get approved for hail damage with my insurance company, and we signed a contract with that roofing company. And then my neighbor across the street, he was having his roof done too, but his was getting done before mine. My neighbor across the street, well, he came home and noticed that they weren't exactly putting the shingle on that he had picked out. It was a cheaper shingle, right? He had picked out a specific brand and color. And when he got there, he's like, well, this doesn't really look right. Looked at the packages and everything, called this particular company, and they were like, well, we don't know who you are. We've never heard of you. They come, look at his roof, and they're like, this, it's not their job, right? They don't know what's going on, supposedly. What it boils down to is it was another roofing company doing the roof and not the same company as the one that had the contract. That prompted me to immediately call my insurance company and see if my check had been cashed yet, because what they wanted was the money up front. Yeah. So I gave them the insurance check. I had given it to the salesman because I had tried to deposit it and I couldn't, right? And the reason is because it had the mortgage company on it. It had my wife and it had the wrong mortgage company because that mortgage had been sold already. So anyway, I tried to go deposit it. The bank wouldn't let me for obvious reasons. Then probably 15 minutes after I got home, the salesman came up, was asking about the first check and all this stuff. So I went ahead and I told him, I said, well, I don't pay for anything up front, but I'll let you hold the check so that you know I'm not going to go spend it. Because as an insurance inspector, I did see people spend the money and not get work done, and that's why the insurance company was now putting them on high-risk insurance, which is why I was there in some cases. Because if it wasn't $1 million home, those are, when you're over a certain dollar amount, that's a high risk, right? The insurance company is going to have to write a $1 to $5 million check if the house burns down in the event of a total loss. Anyway, I gave him this check and told him, this way, you know that I'm not spending the money and going on vacation with this, whatever. So then when my neighbor across the street caught this situation, I immediately called the insurance company, was going to put a stop payment on the check. And they said, well, that check's already been cashed. I said, really?
Because you told them to hold it. You
well,
didn't tell
hold
me
it,
to cash
and
it.
how can you cash a check that hasn't been endorsed by my wife
no kidding.
or the mortgage company? I couldn't even, and I had my ID with my name on the check. I couldn't even deposit that check. So I thought, well, how in the world were they able to do this? So I couldn't put a stop payment on the check, but my insurance company did send me the account number, the name of the company, everything, where they had signed it and just forged the name, right? The roofing company that deposited that check was the company that was putting the roof on across the street and was not the company that either one of us had a contract for. Anyway, I call this roofing company that was supposed to be doing all of our roofs, right? And again, they were like, well, we don't know who you are, blah, blah, blah. Same story as my neighbor across the street. Then they come to my house. We sit at the table. It was, one of the owners and a sales rep. And their approach at the time was, well, it's all the salesman's fault that had brought me the contract to begin with. I don't believe that's the case, but that's what they were saying.
So throwing the sales guy under the bus?
That's right. So what I believe happened is when you have a contract with somebody and you're warranting, quote unquote, that roof, well, what if it leaks in a year? Well, you got to be able to prove that they did your roof. Contract isn't good enough. If they can prove that they never cashed your check and then you go, it was another roofing company. I think it was, what is that game you with the cup and you got the little, which cup is the coin under kind of a thing?
Josh, we're counting on you to tell us what that game is.
Pong ball, something, I don't know.
So
no idea.
I'll never forget, they were sitting at my table. Now, I had a folder with the account number, a copy of the check where it was cashed, everything. And they said, well, we've retrieved your check from the other roofing company and we're going to get your roof on and we're going to this. And, and I just let them talk for 20, 30 minutes. Didn't let them know that you don't have the check. And I know this because it's already been cashed. I said, so you have the check? They said, yeah, we have it. And I opened up the folder, slid it over. I said, well, this right here says it was already cashed and went into this account. And they just looked at me and, had that deer in the headlights look. And anyway, they're going to upgrade me to gutters or I could get a metal roof if I wanted one. Make a long story short, there's more details, but I didn't get a roof, right? They ended up going out of business. They weren't answering my calls. They didn't answer my calls. I left messages. Then I called a week later and they were disconnected. Find out the businesses went out of business. So basically I have no recourse, right? And then I had this other roofing company do my roof. I had to get a quote. It wasn't really insurance work at this point anymore because how insurance works is when they're paying for your roof, you get what it's currently worth, which is called the actual cash value. You get the recoverable depreciation after you can prove the roof has been done. Let's say if it's a $10,000 roof and it's currently worth $5,000, they don't want to give you $10,000 and you not replace it, because they only owe you the actual cash value if it's replaced. So they may give you a $5,000 check, and then when the roofing company sends what's called a statement of completion, you get the other $5,000. So my situation was very different. I did send in, my receipt, but I had to come out of pocket that $3,000 approximately that I lost on the first.
Yeah, so you never recover that money?
No. That roofing company, and I won't say who they are, they're still in business today. The one that deposited my check. I still see their signs out. But I remember getting a call. They had arrested the guy of the roofing company that had my contract. They had arrested him in Hoover and asked me, what do you want us to do? I said, well, I ultimately want the money. I need to replace my roof. So I was supposed to get that money back, and it was whatever. I was going to, the lawyer was supposed to handle this, that, whatever. Well, I never heard from them again. That Hoover released him. Now he did have to go to court on the other people in my neighborhood that had given him money and didn't get a roof, right? And from talking to one of my neighbors, when they went to court, they were all paid the money that was owed to them if they dropped the charges. Right there, right before the hearing started, they all got their money. Well, I wasn't a part of that, so I didn't get it, right? And charges were dropped. He went free. Now, this is not the one that actually cashed my check. This is the owner of the initial roofing company that I had a contract with. Anyway, now fast forward a year, right, or whatever, I call the roofing company, we'll say roofing company B, that I did not have a contract with, that did actually cash my check. And I said, yeah, so I just acted like, they were supposed to put my roof on. I said, yeah, you guys were supposed to put my roof on, cashed my check, and I still haven't heard from you, kind of a thing. Because I don't think I'd had my roof put on yet. Anyway, he said, well, I paid everybody in that, because I explained the situation. He said, I remember paying everybody. Let me go back and check. I thought, you don't have a canceled check where you paid me. Well, sure enough, he produced one. He had a check written to me with a signature on the back that wasn't my signature, cashed at Iberia Bank. I went to that bank, that location, to go talk to the branch manager, said, hey, this right here is not my signature. Did you guys require get an ID or something? They all had this, never heard back from them. The bank wouldn't even call me back. So, and then because I did appraise high value homes, these were lawyers, doctors, CEOs of companies. I asked 2 lawyers about it. Because, I'm just talking to them in their house. I'm having to gather data about their house. And I explained the situation. They said, I can get that $3,000 for you. The problem is it's going to cost you that or more to get it. So it was a situation of why even do it? It wasn't even worth trying to get that money back. So that's what caused me to go to work for the roofing company that eventually put my roof on. I thought, man, if this is how roofing companies do, well, then I can be ethical and make a good living, right? I can compete with these type of people because people don't want to hire them. And I worked for a roofing company for almost a couple of years and was doing well. Everything was fine. And I just had a different approach to some things than they did. And, it's nothing bad about that. That company and that owner no longer exists. The name does. Somebody else owns it. But we just had a difference of opinion on some things. And I didn't get paid commission on repairs and that kind of thing. So, and I was bringing high dollar repairs from gated communities. And so they told me, I could have my own repair company. And that's what I did. They didn't think it was actually ever going to be anything. I remember him telling me, you can go do your little repair company and whatever. Well, I ended up leaving that company and started doing full roofs with Capstone Roofing. I spent a lot of time on the branding and all this kind of stuff. And, God blessed me. It's not because I'm, some genius or anything that I was able to be a classically trained musician and then all of a sudden own a business. God blessed me. Some people would just call it luck, right? I didn't have a degree in business, So anyway, everything has gone really well. God continues to bless us, and we just try to, treat people as though they're valuable, add value to people, and whether they get a roof with us or not. My goal when I started the company was, I can add value to them, even if I don't add value to their house and put a roof on it. If they see me in Walmart or Publix, the mall or whatever, I want them to be able to say, hey, how's it going? How's your son doing? How's his music career going? And I could say the same thing to them, and, just creating genuine relationships. And it's proven to work. We've been successful, and I don't have to do any shady business practices to try to, if somebody else gets the job at another company, well, that's fine. As long as it's a good company, and there's other good companies out there. We're not the only one. And this is what I tried to tell my previous employer, is there was this culture in the office, all roofing companies are terrible except us, kind of a thing. And I thought, and I remember telling the owner one day, we couldn't do every roof if we wanted to. If everybody that needs a roof in Birmingham called us and said, I need a roof, we wouldn't be able to do it. So why is it that
we're the only good
what do I care? Yeah, exactly. What do I care if so-and-so gets that job? So the approach that I have is, if somebody else gets the job, to me, I believe in divine appointments. It may be that God decided that guy for that company needs to feed his family as well. As long as they're not doing shady things, I'm not trying to keep anybody from being successful. There are enough roofs in Birmingham for all the good companies and ethical people to have more than enough work. And there are some unethical companies out there. When it comes to a good company that's not lying to people and treating people right, I want them all to be successful. I would love to see a situation where the only roofing companies that stick around are the ones that treat people right.
Yeah.
Because then I enjoy healthy competition, but I'm not trying to stab anybody in the back. John Doe with such and such roofing company, he's got a family to feed. He's got kids that go to school, some of which go to school, the same school my daughter goes to, So, and again, I couldn't do every roof if I wanted to. If right now somebody called me, and I need you to do 20 roofs next week, I'd be like, well, it's going to take a while to get to all 20, right? So I want everybody to be successful. If the people that are doing it right are successful, we'll all have plenty enough work. It doesn't have to be a dog-eat-dog world.
One thing I love is, I try to tell this to our agents a lot, is that people don't necessarily care what you do. They care why you do it. And I love it when real estate agents come to me and they say, and I ask them, because a lot of them have questions about their bios, like on their website bios. And those are, like, the data shows that's one of the most traffic areas of a real estate website, is like who this person is, why they're in real estate. I ask them that. I'm like, why'd you get into real estate? When they say, well, I was trying to buy a house and couldn't get any agents to return my phone call, or just had bad experiences. And so they're like, that's why I got in. So I love your story about how you just saw a need and a lack of ethics, and you could just solve that problem. Even though your daddy wasn't a roofer, or what, you didn't have any history there. But so we were talking off mic about the fact that a lot of small businesses don't make it, but it's, there's a predominant problem in the roofing industry that you indicated that, a lot of roofing companies don't make it. Is that because they're just trying to get in for a short period of time and get some money where they can and get out?
Yeah, I believe so. So as we were talking earlier, according to statistics, 80% of businesses fail within 5 years, right? And then the number is about the same for the next 5 years. I forget the exact numbers. But the average roofing company, according to a study, I don't know if it was, so GAF is a roofing manufacturer, right? They're actually the oldest roofing manufacturer in the world. They started in 1886. According to GAF, the average roofing company went out of business in 2 to 3 years. They lasted 2 to 3 years, so less than the average, right? The average business. It's already hard enough to start a business and be successful and last 5 years. We've crossed that threshold. We've been in business 7 years, so I'm glad that we didn't peter out.
Yeah.
And I theorize, so we've been around long enough that I've seen 2 or 3 waves of storms and different things like that. When a storm pops up, or if we get a big hailstorm, you'll see all kinds of new roofing companies. And the reason I know this is because we do our own search engine optimization in-house. I learned how to do it in the beginning because I wasn't doing many roofs, right? It was just me and the crew.
Right.
So I had a lot of time on my hands, right? I would go to meet customers and look at issues, diagnose issues. And I was reading leadership books, business books. What is marketing? Accounting books.
Accounting books sound terrible.
Oh, that wasn't even the worst. But I had a lot of time to sit and learn how to, build a website. Now, I wasn't writing code. You use GoDaddy or any of these other services, and you can, it's a point and click, build your
plug
website.
And play.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, but it's not optimized. You still have to go into the back part of the website and optimize for certain keywords. You got to put certain things in there. And, for instance, you got to create these online citations, which, you probably know. You got to have, you got to have a Yelp page. You got to have a Facebook page. You got to have, social media. You got to have, but the big one is Google My Business.
Yeah.
If you don't have a Google My Business page, you're non-existent to
Right.
Google, right? And Google, I forget the percent, but like 80% of people or
It's
so
big.
it uses Google, right? So, learned how to do that, add the tag to the website so that Google crawls the website, recognizes the website, all those things, right? Put blogs on there so that certain keywords are listed on the website, all those things, I learned how to do. And man, even with this little modest website, we were on the first page of Google eventually. They say that, where does Google bury the dead bodies? And it's on page 2.
I love that.
So, your vast majority of people don't click to the second page. Most of them don't even scroll down the first page.
Right.
And since then, of course, now I have an office manager that he kind of does the maintenance for me, keeps this stuff up, because you need to do the things that only you can do in a business and delegate everything else. So he's better with the tech stuff than I am. And so now he handles that type of thing. And I go talk to customers or deal with the insurance work. The insurance is doing that correctly is it's, I mean, we've got a couple situations right now just waiting on the insurance company
to pay you.
Yeah, well, to pay the homeowner so that the homeowner can pay us because we don't take money up front. So I'm basically financing that job until we get paid for it. Now,
is that a standard practice not to take money up front? Okay.
It is not at all standard. I did it. The reason I did it, and I don't know that we'll always be able to do that, right? You start getting more jobs and it gets a lot. There's a lot to keep up with,
right?
Especially the larger jobs, but the reason I started out doing that was because I was taking on all the risk, right? I was asking a homeowner that had never heard of Capstone Roofing to trust me and let me work on your home and
do it right.
I'm not going to disappear like the company that did me, right? I'm not going to just take your check and disappear and do it. I'm going to do it right so that, because I plan on being in business for the long haul. I'm not going to be out of business in a year and start up with a new company name like a lot of them do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You can start, all you got to do is go to the state, what is it? The Department of Revenue, not the Revenue, Secretary of State, whatever the website that tells who owns what business. And you can find the same people that own this one business, close that one, open this other one.
So as soon as their reputation gets, demolished,
reviews,
then
whatever.
they just bounce to another name.
That's right.
Or they're riding storms,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so as of right now, we still don't take money up front because we can manage it and we wait on the homeowner to receive their money. And like I said, it's now, I mean,
it's cost you a couple times.
Well, listen, as soon as Josh establishes this fiddler on the roof, social media, celebrity presence, you guys are probably not going to be able to finance all these jobs.
That's right.
True.
Well, and now that we're starting to do other jobs too, because now I'm not just a licensed roofer. I'm a licensed home builder. So I can build a house literally from the foundation up. So on those type of things, we do have to get money up front because, you're talking, we got a situation right now where we're building something. It's a $30,000 job. It's going to take 2 or 3 weeks. It's not like a roof that I can be done in a couple days, right? So in most situations with a roof, I don't even have to pay the bill yet until I've received your money. So I'm more or less financing it, right? I'm covering all the expenses, and then you pay me. Usually it's in a week or two. Sometimes, I've got a few things right now that have taken a couple of months. But that, we get the roof done fast. I mean, that's, we do roofs well. And I'm not saying that because it's us. That was our bread and butter. This is what we've focused on. How can we make this efficient and as painless as possible for the homeowner? And so, everything generally goes very well with that. Now we're learning and trying to create a process for, all right, well, how do we build decks? How do we build a screened porch? And so we got a job right now, and, it's roughly $30,000. Well, we have to have money up front for that, for the materials and the demo, because it's going to take us 2 or 3 weeks to do that. I've done one kitchen now I've remodeled my entire house, so I've learned a lot of the stuff in my house, bathrooms, everything, even prior to me getting the home builder's license. But we've done a kitchen for someone else, and, that went smooth. Then I actually did that kitchen before I did my own kitchen. And then I learned from that and thought, all right, now I'm going to do my kitchen, and I need this to go quicker than, we had in less than 2 weeks, we had started the demo, and I completely gutted my kitchen. Did the whole kitchen, had the cabinets in, countertops, everything was completely done in less than 2 weeks. But I was uber prepared because obviously I didn't want to be eating out for a month, right?
Yeah.
But It usually does not go that quick. I just happen to, have everything lined up like it needed to be. So I've learned a lot, and eventually we're going to start doing bathroom remodels, and I've completely remodeled 2 in my house. Even changed the floor plan a little bit, knocked the wall out, did some things like that, and then put one in our finished basement where a bathroom didn't exist before. So I had to do things, that I've never had to do before, learn, you got to put a sump pump and you got to do this and do that and whatever, bust into the concrete slab. And so on those, we will have to, change our business model a little bit from a roof. But so far it's been good. We're trying not to take off, bite off more than we can chew, because, we still want to achieve excellence. Right. Mm-hmm. So again, back to what I was saying about the roofs, I couldn't do everyone's roof, not to the level of excellence that we want to do it. If everybody in Birmingham called me, I just say, all right, well, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to get in line. It's going to be a few months before we get to it. So we're just taking, the same approach with this and baby steps. What was that movie? What About Bob? Remember when he baby steps in the elevator? And so
he's like talking to himself. Baby steps, baby steps.
So that's what we're doing now.
Yeah, I need to watch that again.
Yeah.
All right, Josh. Tony has totally dominated our time. But he's the
yes.
boss, so I guess he gets to do that.
I was trying to cut him off like 10 times over here.
Yeah.
You can let me speak?
I think it's your turn now. Yeah, we're going to allow you to speak. So Josh and I, just full disclosure, Josh and I are in B&I together. Josh was at a prior roofing company, and, when he made that change, I think you wanted to reassure everybody that this was not a lateral move, that you were actually going to a better roofing company in some ways, right? It's not like who you're working for was one of these bad ones we're talking about.
No,
it was
not
just
at all.
like this is the culture. This is more your culture.
That's
would
right.
you say, right?
That's right.
So what are some of the things you saw in Tony that attracted you to this company? Now you're the sales guy, right? So you're
right.
the guy that goes and knocks on doors and talks to people and tries to promote the company. What attracted you to Cap?
Well, first of all, I don't really knock on doors. I want to back up and say I worked for a company that I will not name, because it was one of these that we were just referring to. That has
okay.
Prior to the last one, okay, I worked for my first exposure into this world was with one of those. That,
you want to give us a hint on what the name is?
No, not really.
I'm with anything.
Outofbusiness.com.
It is one that has changed its name multiple times.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about just things you see from general contractors, plumbers. I mean, it's just rampant how people just do business wrong.
Totally. I mean, I've seen situations where rig the plumbing in someone's home so that they know they're going to have to call me back in 2 weeks. I've seen the same thing from the roofing standpoint. And frankly, the first company, it was purely door knocking. It was you go and tell these people they have hail damage, whether they do or not, because if you can convince them, that's all that really matters. They file a claim, maybe their insurance company pays for it, maybe they don't. If they don't, it's no harm to us. That was the approach. So it was just get as many claims in as humanly possible. And then law percentages, you're going to end up. Oh, and by the way, when you first meet them at the door, you get them to sign an agreement that if the insurance company does replace the roof, they're going to use us to get the roof, even if they've not had a chance to do any research at all, because you just knocked on the door. Chances are they've not researched roofing companies. They have no idea that they have, even if it's a legit need for a roof, they have no idea they need a roof at this point. So you go ahead and get their signature, so that way, if the insurance company does happen to approve it, they're locked in with us. We're going to put a lien on their house if they don't. That's in the fine print on the back side that nobody read when you asked for a signature. So that was the game when I first got into it, and it didn't take long before I realized, man, this is fishy. It's not right. I don't know enough. I'm totally new to this. Still, it didn't take long to figure out like this is wrong. I got into this in the first place because I thought this is a way I can provide a ministry for people. This is a way I can help people.
Well, tell everybody. I mean,
I was in full-time pastoral ministry prior to stepping into this. Is that what you were going to ask?
Yeah, I wanted to. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've done mission work, worked for churches, and it just got a little bit weary of that. Had some difficult circumstances that led me to say, hey, we just need to take a break from that for a time. I don't know how long, but we want to just be members of a healthy church and not have our church tied to my work.
I think this is interesting, though, because there's not just one way to minister to people.
That's right.
And I think the business world needs more kingdom-minded businesses, but people need to realize, like, hey, this mission field is vast.
That's right.
So there's room for plumbers, roofers. It's not just teachers and pastors and, things like that.
Sure. And I definitely saw that as an opportunity, especially when I'm actually sitting down in the living room with someone and she's got leak stains all over her ceiling. She starts crying to me because I come to find out she's a widow and has never actually, a recent widow. And never actually had to do anything, make any hard decisions on her home before. And now all of a sudden this and everything else is falling on her shoulder. It's a counseling session that I was never going to have as a pastor,
right?
Before. So unique opportunities to minister. And that's what I realized. I mean, let's be honest. I first got into it because it was a job.
Yeah, you needed money.
I needed money.
We all need
I
money.
needed to take care of my family. But before long, realized, hey, this is a ministry. This is something I can do as a way to help people in need. I had to be with a company that saw it that way too, because the first company, he just saw people as dollar signs, not as people in need. I do want to clarify, because anyone listening that happens to know where I've been, the company I was with for the last year and a half before connecting with Tony was a great one, a solid one. There weren't any bridges burned. I loved working for him, with him. Frankly, the main reason for me stepping out was just, I feel like he's on the verge of retirement. His mindset is in a different place at this time. He's had this company for 27 years. He's done really, really well. 99% insurance work. Now he wants to be with his grandkids more. His mind is in a different place.
Right.
It. And as someone who's 1099 and working on full commission, first of all, that's really stressful,
Yeah, welcome to my world.
And secondly, I couldn't afford that mindset. I wasn't in that same place where I could just, sit back, and if it comes in.
And he's very selective about the jobs he took, right?
Yeah, very much. So he had a niche that if it fell into this category, then we'd take it. But, Tony talked about repairs.
Something that's super unique to y'all's company.
Yeah, in our case,
stuff, the big stuff.
Right. In our case, with the previous one, it was, if it wasn't something that the insurance was going to replace, then, it's not really worth our time, effort, energy to put into repairing it. If it was something simple, sure, we can hop up there and put some caulk on and seal some shingles back, fill some nail heads, whatever. But for the most part, it was a niche that we were expecting jobs to fall into if we were going to take care of them. And if not, it just really wasn't worth our time and effort. And that, again, kind of put me in a situation where, like, man, I don't know, I can't afford to sit around and wait for the good stuff. I need to take on every job I can and try to do it well. And my mentality was, look, if we take care of this homeowner on something small, guess what? They're going to call us when they have a bigger need. They need a roof, and we've taken care of them when it comes to a minor repair. We're going to be the first one on their Google page, when it comes to a bigger issue, a bigger need that they have. And who knows? We live and work in a referral-based industry.
100%, yeah.
Who knows, like, where a small job can go when it comes to trust and integrity. If we take care of that the right way for somebody, that person can instantly become a huge referral source, passing us to who knows how many others. And so that was my mentality and approach to it. And I'll just real quickly say how Tony and I got connected, because this is a neat story. A friend of mine that I've known forever did our premarital counseling. I've been married 17 years, so this was a long time ago, dating back to Sanford days. And he and I have stayed in close contact. I teach his son violin, and Tony did his roof for him 4 years ago. And so about a year ago, this buddy of mine kind of knew my situation, knew my frustrations with it. He was like, you need to call Tony Riddle. Dude did my roof, and I can't say enough good things about him. I think y'all would work really well together. And I was like, man, Brian, I'm okay. I'm waiting around for a good storm. You know, I'm
just waiting on the ice to start dropping from the sky.
Yeah. I'm trying to be, loyal to my guy, and
yeah, I get that.
And so I put him off on that, and fast forward 8 or 10 months later, and I need to have this conversation.
Yeah.
And come to realize, I mean, this is my people. I mean, I'm a musician, kingdom minded, happen to do this job for a living to pay bills, take care of my family. This is my people. This is what I've been looking for. Just small jobs, big jobs. It doesn't matter. Like, do it all and do it all the right way. Take the approach that we're in this to do right by people. Period. Whether they end up using us or not, we want to be light casters. This is a dark industry. And you're right, Tony, to say that not all roofing companies are bad, but man, that's exactly true. But there's enough out there that, like, I want to protect people from these scammers as much as I possibly can, get especially friends and people that I've really come to care about. I mean, if they have a need, whether it's us ultimately or somebody else that's going to take care of them the right way, that's all that matters to me. But that was the mentality that I feel like we shared, the reason why I came on board. Long answer, but
well, anybody that scams anyone, they're aggressive, right?
For sure.
So they're aggressive and they're scamming people. So, some of those, whether it's roofing or any trade, or whether it's, I get the same, people calling me wanting to do our SEO for our website. I've dealt with them enough. You can start figuring out which ones are. I hired one at one time just thinking I just don't have the time to worry about it. You get these type of people in all industries, right? Because it's a big world, right? But it's like Josh was saying, there are people out there just looking for that dollar, and they don't care if they serve you, right? That's not their goal. So
yeah.
Josh and I are, we have the mindset of serving people, and hopefully we do their roof. But if not, I'm still not opposed to giving you the information about your roof. If you hire us, great. If you don't, well, at least I've done my part to let you know so that you're a little bit more educated on the process, what you need with your roof, how the insurance thing works. Then after that, if you get scammed, it's I did what I could,
right,
to keep you from it. So
yeah. I'm going to give Alexander Shinar a little plug, because I met with him a while back. He gave me an hour of his time, and I asked him, I was like, how did you get to where you could afford to spend? The guy spends he has $1 million, maybe even a multi-million-dollar budget on marketing right now, but he said the minnows are the path to the Marlins. And so he still, I think he teaches his junior associates that too. We take, whether it's a traffic ticket or whatever, we serve you, and that's how they've gotten these big cases. So, when we sat down for our B&I one-on-one, and you started talking about Tony doing mission work and taking off to Haiti for a while, that's when I knew. I was like, we got to have y'all in here to talk about your business and promote your business.
Yeah.
Tell the audience that story about what you know from Tony's.
Well, I'll say from my standpoint, this was what got me on board, because I felt like, who does this? Who has this mentality?
Literally drops everything.
To recognize there's a big need here, and oh, by the way, I'm not doing this to make money. In fact, I'm spending my resources to do this. but
Probably not going to get a lot of referrals out of Haiti.
right. But if the Lord has blessed us and we've had a good few months here to where we can, man, it's my job to give back now. It's my job to look for a need and pour into it. So yeah, I'll let you kind of tell the story of how this happened.
I personally believe that, so, we as believers, we tithe, right? But I personally don't believe that the tithing stops at giving $1 out of every 10. I believe that,
or even to the church itself.
Exactly. So, we donate our time. Josh serves on the worship team at church. I do as well at my church. And, but God has blessed me, and he's blessed me with, resources and talents and gifts, so that I believe that I'm supposed to go and use that and glorify him. Right. Yes. I personally pay tithes, but the business also, we have a missionary that we support, another nonprofit organization that we support. So the business tithes as well, and then I generally go on at least a couple mission trips a year, and the business buys my flights. Capstone Roofing pays for the flights and that type of thing, and I donate my time, right? And and it started. I went on my first mission trip, late 2014, maybe early 15, something like that. Had an opportunity. I met a guy that I bought a guitar from, because at about the same time that I started my business, I was also writing songs and playing an open mic night, and whatever one took off, that's what I was going to do. Well, roofing ended up, taking off, and God has blessed me, with it. And but I bought this guitar from this guy and found out that he went on mission trips. He'd been to Africa, and he had been to Jamaica, and was planning on going to Jamaica. And he asked me if I was interested in going, and I went. So that was my first mission trip, and it was great. I had literally just started Capstone Roofing. I mean, I'm wearing my Capstone Roofing t-shirt in some of the photos in Jamaica. We were in the mountains of Jamaica, and we were talking to people about drip irrigation, because they were in a drought. We were trying to help them find ways to, this is how you can conserve water and, be efficient with the watering your crops and such, right? So I really enjoyed it. Crazy thing too is I ended up leading worship, which I was a baby Christian at the time, and I didn't know any worship songs, but I'm a musician and can read chord charts. And so, basically 30 minutes before the service, I had to learn 2 or 3 songs. And I'll never forget, I was playing guitar and singing Cornerstone by Hillsong. So, but, I really enjoyed it. And, it was a very good experience. And then, so I had planned to just, do more mission trips. And then I guess it was, late 2015, or maybe it was 16, we had the drought. You remember in Birmingham, we had 60 days of no rain.
Yeah.
Well, not that I'm sitting around praying for hail and rain, but when those things don't occur and you don't have any rain and it's sunny every day, well, if you got a hole in your roof, guess what? You don't have leaks. So you're not putting roofs on. So I was just sitting around. I mean, I had just started the business. I didn't have enough in the account to pay me so that I could pay my house payment the next month. I mean, I just prayed about it. I said, God, if this isn't what you want me to do, that's cool. I'll do something else. You just let me know what I need to do. May your will be done here on earth as it is in heaven, not my will, right? We were in that drought. Then I get a call, because at the time, so where I go to church, we have a first Saturday serve. We serve in the communities on the first Saturday of every month, and the church has the Birmingham Dream Center, which is right down the road from here. And so I served there on first Saturday of every month, doing contract and stuff, fixing leaks, roof leaks or whatever, right? Just serving the community. And the guy, of course, now he's full-time at the church, but at the time he was only part-time with the church and was over the Dream Center. He called me and he said, hey, because a hurricane had just hit Haiti. It was October of 2015 or 16, I can't remember. He said, we're thinking about putting a trip to Haiti, disaster relief. And it was the first one out of the country that the church had done. I mean, they've gone to hurricane hit areas, in Louisiana and Florida and whatever. But he called me about going to Haiti. And I was like, yeah, sure, that'd be great, because I wanted to do more mission trips. And I said, so when are you thinking? He said, next week. I said, what? But I started thinking, I don't really have anything going on. We don't have any roofs. We're in this drought. And I said, sure, man. Yeah, I'm up for it. So went to Haiti the next week. We were reframing roofs over a couple churches that had it just, because they don't have building codes, as you can imagine, in Haiti. I mean, it just, So anyway, we were working with a nonprofit organization down there called Restivec Freedom. And what they do is they free children from modern day slavery. In Haiti, people will sell their children for $50, right? Unemployment in Haiti at the time was about 70%. If you had a job, the minimum wage was like $3 a day, I think, something like that. So anyway, people will sell their children, or if a parent dies and that child has to live with an aunt or uncle, they're not seen as like one of the kids, one of their children. The children go to school, and that child stays there and cooks, cleans, So Restivec means in Creole to sit with. So this organization educates those children, tries to free them from those situations, and they've been doing a lot of work in Haiti. And the guy that started the organization is actually owns a commercial construction company in Ohio. So anyway, we were partnered with them, going down there doing this stuff, and he was doing it. He tries to do everything to meet U.S. building codes. So we're building things better there than they do themselves there in Haiti. So I went back to Haiti 6 months later with the same group doing the same work. And then about every 6 months, we would go on a different disaster relief trip around 6 months. So the next trip was, I went to Peru because of a flood that took out a bunch of homes. And these people were living on basically native reservation land. They were in FEMA tents and whatever. And we built a church, and then was partnered with Powerhouse Church. They're from Texas, but there's a missionary stationed in Peru, and they were partnered with another missionary that I've become, both of which I've become very good friends with. So then about 6 months later, the missionary that I met, he's not in Peru anymore, but his name is Nick Balcom, and then the pastor for Powerhouse down there is Pastor Jose Lopez, and we were 6 months later, we went and remodeled Pastor Jose's church. I mean, it was just a building, and they were having church in it, and it's hot, right? But me, an electrician, a guy that Gary Kraft that owns Kraft Heating and Cooling, I think is the name of his business. He went. Another construction friend of mine, that's in construction, he went. My lawyer, who is a licensed home builder, went. We all did that. Before we left that building, which was just like a big metal building, like a Butler building. Before we left, it had several air conditioning units. We had built several rooms, built a floor so that it was going to have a second story for this part. We built a stage for the sanctuary, and they even had the lights and everything, like a small version of what you would go into a church here, and LED lights that were moving with the music, and it was great. We went to the church service on Sunday. They got to use it for the first time, and it had cool air. It was great, and then I went back to Peru again. I went to Cusco this time 6-7 months later, and did the same thing in a different church, right? We built a stage, put a roof on it, and with some of the same people, some of these same guys. So these guys just have a heart to serve, and they've got construction experience, and ended up going to the Bahamas because of the hurricane, roofing a church. That trip, it was mostly all roofing, but most of these, roofing is just one of the things we're doing. Sometimes it's no roofing, sometimes we're just framing up walls and doing whatever, But anyway, and then because of COVID, I've been going to the Refuge Foundation in Montana. Haven't left the country, so I'm supposed to go to Honduras at the end of October, but that'll be the first out of country trip I've had in, I guess, a couple of years. So I've been to the Refuge Foundation several times in the last couple of years. What they do is they serve people that serve people. A lot of pastors and nonprofit leaders of nonprofit organizations go up there and they serve people, and pastors, so that who's serving the pastors, who's pouring into the pastors that are pouring into us, So they have all the statistics on the turnover rate for pastors and the moral failures.
High, right?
Yeah, it's very
they're
high.
under a lot of pressure, a lot of stress.
Think about it. When you're serving other people, I mean, you got to be served, or otherwise, you don't have
filling everybody else's tank.
Yeah,
who's filling yours?
Exactly. So the Refuge Foundation does a really good job of that. One of the things that's most impressive to me is the leadership of Brian Carpenter. He runs it, and almost everybody that works there they're in their early 20s. Like all these guys, they'll take you out fishing. You go on the Bighorn River, you fly fish. They'll take you out there a couple of days, or you can just hang out on the reservation. It's on an Indian reservation. They'll take you out on the lake. You can just sit out by the fire and read. Just, different things. It's supposed to be relaxing, and,
I'm ready for that trip.
Yeah, it's like a sabbatical type, right? So
mm-hmm. Brian, the way he leads these young men to serve people, I mean, it's very impressive. So as an educator, right, I'm a former educator, I was just really impressed with how he trains them to be leaders and trains them to have serve. And, all these guys have a servant's heart. And, I've been there because I've gone there and done some work, and I've actually been invited on a trip where I was being served. It was weird. Like I was there and I was thinking, we'll work a little bit while we're there. No, they won't even let you. No, they're like, no, let us serve you. You're here this week to just be served. And I mean, you finish your meal and it's just, I have this habit of, okay, well, I'm going to go take care of my stuff, go throw my plates away, whatever. They'll come up and say, hey, no, let me get that for you. And they say, go ahead and sit down. You need something to drink? All right, let me go get, there. I mean, it's great. And what Brian does there is really impressive. So, which is why, and I believe in that, and pouring, he's a spiritual father to those guys. And, we all need mentors and spiritual fathers. And because like I said, somebody needs to pour into you. Yeah. I mean, we all, myself included, I mean, we all need somebody that you can talk to about things, and whether it's, just everyday life or, like for us, I believe in small groups. Our church really pushes small groups, but a small group doesn't have to be a curriculum at a church. I feel like me and Josh and Sho and Austin, we're a small group, and
I've been talking about doing a small group for social media marketing, and then teaching people how to be, I'm going to be stealing this, a light caster. I'm going to be stealing that. All right, we're way over on time. So, Tony, how can people get in touch with you? How can they find you? Websites, phone numbers, whatever you want to plug.
Facebook.
Oh, look at it now.
Josh Meredith will have a new Facebook page. You can check that out.
We're just trying to
get a profile pic on
we're just trying to get a profile pic right now. Now it's the gray avatar, and he looks like, a spammer.
Yeah. So people can go to our website, www.capstoneroofingco.com. So you have to put the CO. I can buy capstoneroofing.com for, easy, just, $4,000. It's not being used, but, these people that buy up the online real estate, anyway, you can go to our website. You can also go to our, Google page, Facebook page. We got an Instagram page. Look at our reviews on Yelp, Google, and some of those other sites. I forget the name of them, but Trustpilot and whatever. Our office phone number is 205-453-1803. But the easy one to remember is 905-ROOF.
905-ROOF.
That's the easiest one. So 205-905-ROOF. And we can do, when we do a quote, I can give a guesstimate over the phone once we've measured it with a satellite. So we have a satellite service. We'll measure it. We don't have to get on your roof. But yeah, so it can be non-touch, right? We don't have to come in the house. We don't even have to meet you in person. But I like to, because I want people to know who we are, kind of what we're about. But, I can tell those things over the phone if people, worried about contracting COVID or anything like that. It can be a complete non-touch estimate and situation. When we go to the house, it's just to verify the number of layers and how much rotten wood because when we give a quote, it's an accurate quote. It's not one of these, oh yeah, it's going to be, $13,000. And then we do the roof and go, oh, well, there was this and there was that. And it's $14,500. No, we give you a to the dollar amount quote. And if anything is going to change, we take pictures of it and ask you, what do you want us to do? Like, oh, you did have multiple layers. Oh, hey, we found this rotten rafter. What do you want us to do?
Yeah, because sometimes you're not going to know what you
Get
find
until you start taking.
peeling back those layers.
But it's rare, with roofing. Plus, we're prepared. We try to be as prepared as possible, so that if that quote says $12,240, that's the invoice you get. But yeah, people can just call the office. We gather their information, put them on the schedule for an inspection. Try to give them a little bit of information over the phone sometimes, but yeah, that's basically what we do. We email a quote.
Well, guys, I enjoyed it. Thank you for your time.
Oh,
It's been
thank you.
interesting. I can really talk to you guys all day about, things outside of roofing. So,
Right.
And I know you guys are busy. So thanks so much for coming in. Josh, any final words for you?
Like my page. I don't even know
Look at you.
what's-
Look at you.
what's the terminology. What do I say?
Click the
just
like button.
yeah.
click-
Subscribe.
It's funny because my wife has been trying to get me. I think I looked it up, Facebook.
Yes, for as long as I've been married.
So as long as we've been married, yeah, she's been trying to get me on Facebook, and then she's like, and here Jason Will, comes along.
The Jason Will.
The Jason Will, right?
Yeah,
Let's clarify. But and in no time, he's gotten you on Facebook.
Just wait until these checks start rolling in. And you could serenade people with the violin because you're a
That's
very
true.
talented violinist.
Fiddler on the Roof. That's how to find me.
Yeah.
I hope.
Well, we got to find, if somebody's listening out there and you have a roofing need and you'd be okay with us filming Josh on your roof with a fiddle, please reach out to me. I am really easy to find. But let's get this rolling.
The funny
that'd
thing,
be
one of
fun.
the names for the roofing company that I was going to use was, because my last name is Riddle, it's going to be Riddler on the Roof.
No way.
I stuck with Capstone.
You've not told me that.
It's pretty awesome.
I just stuck with Capstone. I thought,
wow,
this is a little
Riddler
more.
on the roof.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah.
All right.
So
So if you're
that's all I
listening,
got.
just look at your ceiling right now. If you see any stains or water spots, you need to get in touch with Capstone, and we would love for you.
Take care.
Yeah.
Sure.
Your neighbors are going to love it. It's going to be like a concert on your roof. The fiddler's going to be on your roof. All right, guys, I got to go. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to our listeners. Please find us on iTunes. Give us a review. Share this podcast with your friends and family members, and we just appreciate your continued support. Thanks for listening to the Impact Agent Podcast. If you like the show and got something out of it, please like the Impact Agent Podcast on Facebook and rate and review the show on iTunes or anywhere you listen to podcasts. This really helps us grow the show and helps other agents find it. Please share it with your friends and coworkers as well. Want us to deliver the show to you via email every week? Then email me at jason@impactagentuniversity.com and we'll send you the show every week. Please let us know what you think about the show, what you like, what you don't, or possibly make a suggestion about a topic you want to hear. Email me at jason@impactagentuniversity.com or leave us a message on Facebook at Impact Agent Podcast. Until next week, everybody be productive, safe, and happy, and always keep learning. This podcast is produced by Johnny Gwynn at Deep Fried Studios in Mobile, Alabama, and is paid for and powered by ImpactAgentUniversity.com.